The game replacing the Cowboys-Niners matchup in primetime will be the Browns and the Giants. So, Shannon, what does this tell you?
Skip, I know they did not flex America's team. With the pretty helmets and the shiny blue uniform.
They flexed them backward. You know, they didn't. Yeah, they unflexed them.
They flexed them out of it.
Right, yeah.
Really, Skip? Really? I mean, for the Browns and the Giants?
Yep.
Skip, the Giants.
Well, it is in New York City.
No,
right?
no, Skip, stop that. Stop that, Skip. Hold on. I know Jerry. Ooh, Skip, this is eating guilt. Jerry's great.
Agreed.
You mean to tell me, Skip, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you a true story, Skip. I was dating this girl one time, and we broke up. You know what? I gave her specific instructions. I said, you could date anybody. You could date somebody from Reedsville, from Claxton, Pembroke. Hell, you go all the way to Savannah. But don't you date anybody at my school.
Did she break up with you?
You know what she did, Skip Bayless? Just to spite me. You know what she did, Skip Bayless? Not only did she come dating somebody at my school, she dated my best friend.
Well, then you shouldn't have been with her in the first place.
I should have been I was with her first, Skip. She was my boo. He had to have her. But that's not the hero there.
There are no rules when you break up.
Yes, it is. That should be code. That should be man law.
Okay.
He's still my friend, but he should have said, nah.
He's still your friend today?
Yeah, we still
How long did they last? Like a month?
Nah, Skip. They had a kid together.
There you go.
But anyway, Skip, the Giants are within your division. The Giants are in your division, Skip, and so they flex you guys out, put you in the 1 o'clock. Skip, you know the Cowboys usually play in the 4th. They always play. They either got primetime game at night, Monday night, Sunday night, or they're playing in the 4:25 window. They bumped y'all to 1. That hurt you, Skip. That hurt Jerry. Now, it don't hurt you as much as it hurt Jerry.
I agree.
But it definitely hurts. But it just goes to show you, Skip, look, the Cowboys are losing, man. And at some point in time, Skip, you gotta win. You gotta bring something to the table. And people are tired. It's not like you're losing close games, Skip.
No,
y'all get blown out.
And we just got blown out in Tuesday night primetime.
You did.
And it was a debacle of a disaster of a nightmare.
And you got blown out on Thanksgiving.
Yep. So back-to-back blowouts in big stages.
Yes.
And the defending NFC champ 49ers just got blown out basically at home by the Bills, right? So I get it. I get the thought like, no, we can't do this. So I respect this decision. I don't agree with it, but I do respect it. The reason I don't agree with it is I grew up a fan of this team. I wrote 3 books about this team. And as Greg Aiello, who's worked years for the league and used to be the Cowboys PR director, once told me, he called the Dallas Cowboys, as America's team, this monster. It is a monster. It is the one team you can't take your eyes off of, winning, losing, drawing. Whatever they do, they have a force field of subplots. It's LeBron-esque. It's always something with LeBron James. We talk about him almost every day on this show because it dictates, because he's always involved in something, making a statement, involved in this, involved in that, nothing bad. It's just always, it's always drama. He is the drama king. This team is the drama king in the NFL. And I know back in the early 90s, I used to do sports reporters up at New York for ESPN every Sunday. And a lot of times, you got it. And a lot of times I had to go over to CBS to watch the games because I could watch them all at once. This is back in the early 90s. So it's back in the days when Terry Bradshaw was there, and I got to know all the producers. And they had a motto even back in the early 90s. When in doubt, we talk about the Cowboys. Now, they were rolling at that point, and they had come back to life post-Tom Landry.
When in doubt, show the Cowboys.
But there's a classic saying from a man I knew very well, fought with him many times, but it was Texas E. Schramm. Tex Schramm was the architect of the original Cowboys. He was the brains behind the original operation. He created everything. He chose those jerseys. He chose that metallic blue color by bringing a TV camera into his office and testing jerseys in 1960, testing them on camera. How do they look? Until he got that rich blue, and he knew it was so pleasing to your eye that it could create legions of fans around the country. He insisted on the Cowboys remaining in the NFC East when they're out there in Texas, and they're in a division with, wait a second, Philly and Washington and New York. He knew he needed to be there because he'd play each of them twice, and he'd get huge publicity in the big media markets in the Northeast.
New York, D.C., Philly.
It's brilliant. And what he always said was, the national media wants to see us lose, but they do not want us to go away. Nobody wants the Cowboys to go completely away at 3-9 because they're too fascinating. So they're close to becoming irrelevant. You can argue they have become irrelevant.
Well, you know what it is, Skip? What they've become is the Floyd Mayweather, because you know how Floyd was going to fight. Floyd was not going to go in there to try to knock you out, but you wanted to see him get that L. So now the Cowboys, well, the
difference is he never got an L, and these guys are 3-9.
But you want to see them lose again. There's a large legion. Like you said, there are fans that love the Cowboys, but there's another large legion that say, let's get one more L on.
All right, so to your first point, look, the Cleveland Browns are suddenly crazy hot 9-3 with the it kid, Baker Mayfield, who's the star of every commercial on television, right? Progressive or Nissan Heisman House. Right. He's the star of just about every one of them.
Yep.
So I get them, and I get New York's the biggest media market in the world. So you got a built-in audience, and they've won 4 in a row to get to 5-7. And it looks like maybe they're the team to beat in the NFC East.
Correct.
I'm going to warn everybody, as crazy as 2020 is, look at what could happen even this Sunday. Dallas goes to Cincinnati. Dallas is favored by 3.5 to beat the Bungles at Cincinnati, okay?
They got y'all.
Okay, well, you could be right. And in fact, I hope you're right, because I want 3-13 and I want a high draft pick, right? Okay, but let's just say they do win the game they're favored to win.
Right.
Okay, then we go to Washington. They play at San Francisco, where they're a 3-point dog. Okay, what if that proves to be true and Washington loses? New York's at home, where they're a 1-point underdog to Kyler and company from Arizona.
Giants going to win that one.
Okay, you could be right, but the odds makers are showing you on relative strength. They're saying, wait a second, Arizona's a little better than New York. Now, are they playing better? No, they're not.
Right.
But what if those odds prove true? What if New York loses at home? What if Washington loses at San Francisco? What if Dallas wins at Cincinnati? Ladies and gentlemen, the Cowboys are only 1 game back in the NFC East. So then you go to the next week when they got unflexed, and you'd say, hold on here. They're still afloat at 4-9.
Skip.
Am I right?
You've been saying
No, am I right about that?
You're right.
And by the way, Baker and company are at home playing the Ravens, who just blasted my Cowboys, ran them off the field. And remember, the Ravens at Cincinnati are favored to win the game. They're a 1-point favorite at Cincinnati. So if that proves true, what if Cleveland's coming off a home loss, the Giants off a home loss? Would you suddenly lean back and say, boy,
but Skip,
Cowboys?
You've been saying all year the Cowboys have never been more than 2 games out of first. And you say all they got to do is do this. And if the other team does that.
They've obviously been propped up by the worst division in the history of football. In the history of football.
And this might be one of the worst Cowboys team in the history of their existence.
Well, except for like 89 or, or 1960. Right? Okay, I got you. Those are like expansion type teams. Okay, I got it. But what hurt me as a lifelong fan is when you say Dallas, San Francisco, my eyes just light up, because they have had legendary rivalry type games dating clear back into the 70s, right?
Yes.
And now it has come to this. And San Francisco is the defending champ, but it looks like they're not going to have Jimmy G or Kittle or, they're injury ravaged.
You're right, because in the 70s, I mean, people only think about the catch. But there are a lot of years that the Cowboys knocked the 49ers out of the NFC Championship game. So it goes.
I lived for all that. I lived all the way through it. And when I hear it, it's just music to my ears and eyes, right?
Well, Skip,
and it has come to this.
I mean, but you have nostalgia. You get to hold that. I mean, there's sentiment there. It won't be that way again.
Okay, just remember what I just said about these odds.
I mean, Cleveland was only scheduled to have 2 primetime games in 2020.
Okay.
And they just got another one, courtesy of you.
Okay, is Baker not fascinating to watch?
It didn't matter. Hold on. Was Baker going to be the quarterback coming into the season? And the network says we're only going to put these jokers on prime time twice.
Baker was horrible last year.
Okay, then.
Okay, then.
And they had you guys scheduled, so right now you guys are playing horrible.
Yeah, and you still watch them anyway.
No.
They could put them on at 6 a.m. and you'd
Skip
watch.
already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You would still watch.
Yep.
I think that's how you wrap this up.
I got to have something.
It is still America's team.
At.
It's still the Cowboys, and it's must-watch TV. It always is, always has been. Guys, listen, James Harden reportedly has 2 new teams on his wish list. We'll give you the latest next.